Nobody in Los Angeles expected this storyline to come roaring back right now. Not with the defense tightening, the rotation starting to make sense, and LeBron James still controlling fourth quarters like a player who refuses to act his age. Yet here we are, with one idea floating around the league that refuses to die. What if another franchise thinks it can sneak into the final chapters of LeBron's career and rewrite them in its own colors? I'm not talking about a random burner page. I'm talking about a scenario analysts have put in print, executives have at least walked through on the whiteboard, and that keeps circling around one badge, one market, one plan bold enough to believe it can break into the bond between LeBron and the Lakers. I'm here with you on Lakers News Fan Report, speaking directly to you, one-on-one, with the seriousness this fan base deserves. This is where you get calm, detailed breakdowns, not empty panic and not lazy done-deal thumbnails. Tonight, I'm going to walk you through why LeBron's name has been attached again to Dallas, how much of that comes from real league logic, how much is pure fantasy, and what this whole conversation actually says about the state of the Los Angeles Lakers right now. We start with our own house. LeBron is still playing at an absurdly high level. Efficient scoring, high-level playmaking, strong rebounding, orchestrating pace and possessions. When he sits, this roster has shown at times that it can hold its own in stretches. That is good news for us. It means there is a structure. It means the team is not built solely on desperation. But from the outside, that same detail is twisted into a different angle. If the Lakers can compete without him for small stretches, maybe they're not chained to him the way they used to be. For ambitious front offices, that tiny shift in perception is all it takes to start drawing arrows toward Los Angeles and asking the forbidden question: is there any world where they'd listen? On top of that, everyone knows that the relationship between a generational star and a franchise is never a straight, smooth line. There have been tough conversations about urgency, supporting cast, how aggressively the front office is matching LeBron's competitive window. That is normal, but viewed from a distance, any sign of friction, any hint of different expectations is interpreted as a crack. And whenever people think they see a crack between a superstar and a historic brand, there is always one team ready to throw itself into the story as the supposed savior. That is the context in which a national evaluation recently framed LeBron James as the dream target for the Dallas Mavericks. Not as some fake leak, but as the most ambitious version of their quest to stack stars. On paper, the idea sells itself. A franchise built around big names and a hyped young piece imagines adding LeBron as the final touch. Reunite him with Kyrie Irving, pair him again with Anthony Davis in a new setting, put an elite prospect at their side to learn from them, call it a last legendary ride, and project it to the world. From a marketing and narrative standpoint, it is gold. From a distance, the drawing feels clean. In that fantasy, Dallas lines up matching salaries, throws in draft compensation, finds a way to keep its core and still absorb LeBron's contract. The Lakers, in that same script, accept a bundle of role players and picks, close the chapter, and pivot to a different identity. It looks dramatic, it sounds huge in a headline, but the second you stop treating it like a video game and start treating it like responsible team building, the cracks start to show everywhere. Let's go directly to the numbers. LeBron is a $50 million decision. Under the current CBA, that figure defines your flexibility. For Dallas to bring in that contract and try to keep top-end talent alongside him, they would have to send out real rotation pieces and live at a financial limit that crushes their options to adjust later. Any offer light enough to let them keep all their favorite names is too weak to make the Lakers even blink. Any offer strong enough to make the Lakers think strips so much depth and versatility from Dallas that the imagined super team stops being functional and turns into a top-heavy gamble one injury away from disaster. Now flip it to the Lakers side. Ask yourself honestly, does it make competitive sense to move on from the player who still defines your ceiling, who remains a magnet for attention, who keeps your games in prime conversations while you are publicly and structurally invested in a win-now project with Anthony Davis in his prime? Trading LeBron is not a clever cat maneuver. It's a statement about your identity. To justify that, the return would have to deliver elite young pillars and premium picks that clearly launch your next era. Not overlapping contracts, not maybe he helps veterans, not distant draft promises that might never match what you already have wearing number 23. Then there's LeBron himself. Every major move in his career has had a clear internal logic. competitive situation, legacy, market, off-court projects. Leaving Los Angeles through a constructed blockbuster into somebody else's dream scenario is a totally different type of decision. To make sense, a destination has to equal or surpass what he has in LA. Organizational control, stability, medical structure he trusts, a roster that truly maximizes the last elite version of his game, and a market that sustains his impact beyond basketball. Strip away the hype and look honestly at the Dallas setup in these hypothetical builds. Big personalities, health concerns, huge financial weight, a rookie still learning, and a depth chart eaten alive by the trade. That's not a clear upgrade. That's a complicated experiment. Here's another piece I want you to see clearly. The simple fact that the Lakers have survived some minutes and even some games without LeBron on the floor is what helps fuel this external imagination. Executives elsewhere look at that and think, maybe at some point the Lakers consider maximizing value before decline. They see his age, they see the strain of carrying so many seasons, and they wonder if there is a front office scenario where Los Angeles chooses a massive reset instead of squeezing every last competitive drop. That curiosity is what produces columns, segments, and trade machine screenshots. Curiosity, not confirmation. At the same time, all of this is built on respect. LeBron is at an age where almost every other player in history has already stepped down from nightly dominance. He hasn't. He's still putting up star-level numbers, still drawing the top defender, still making the right read more often than not. That is why someone can write, LeBron James is the dream trade target and not sound ridiculous. It shows that front offices continue to treat him as a player who changes your season, your locker room, and your brand the second he arrives. Every time his name is sketched into a hypothetical Mavericks lineup, it is a reminder of how valuable he remains as a Laker. Inside the league, big-name scenarios get mapped constantly. People sit in rooms and say, what if, about almost every star. So when you see Dallas framed as an ideal spot if one day he becomes available, you have to translate that correctly. It means that on a board full of impossible options, that one is aesthetically appealing. It does not mean there's an active negotiation. The distance between this would be fun and this is on the table is enormous, and right now there is nothing concrete that closes that distance. There is another side of this that matters for us. When analysts and executives talk about Dallas as a perfect landing spot, they're thinking beyond X's and O's. They're thinking about selling one more global story, LeBron joining familiar stars, mentoring the next big thing, chasing one last ring in a different color. That is powerful for content, for sponsors, for debate shows. But none of that changes how brutal the cost would be in real roster terms. To pay for that fantasy, Dallas guts its depth, pins itself under a heavy financial ceiling, and lives fully exposed to injuries or decline. One bad break, and that movie script turns into a very expensive drama. Meanwhile in Los Angeles, LeBron's value is layered. On the court, he still bends defenses and organizes the game. Off the court, he keeps the Lakers at the center of the league's map. Role players want to come here because the reads are clearer next to him and Davis. Networks want this team on national windows because he's here. When you trade a player like that, you are not only trading production, you are trading relevance. You are telling your own locker room and future free agents that you are stepping out of the main stage for a while. Unless a return locks you straight into a fresh, credible path, you don't flirt with that message. Another nuance I refuse to ignore with you, LeBron and the organization have had their heavy conversations, and they will have more. That is normal when the standard is titles, not appearances. Outside noise turns those conversations into evidence of a breakup. Inside, they function as leverage and accountability. As long as the front office shows him they are truly trying, adjusting the roster, investing in size, shooting, continuity, managing his minutes with intelligence instead of panic, his incentive to force some dramatic escape late in his career is limited. He understands what the Lakers brand gives him. He understands what adding his name to this franchise's history book means. Walking away from that is not impulsive. For Dallas,
Even the most generous dream board assumes perfect health for players who haven't always been healthy, instant chemistry between major personalities, and a young talent ready to grow inside maximum chaos. That combination is fragile. You do not design a long-term strategy on fragile assumptions. You design thumbnails and debate topics. That's fine for the entertainment side of this business, but here you and I are talking about basketball reality. If you zoom out, the real lesson from this whole LeBron to Mavs discussion is simple. The Lakers are still exactly where everyone loves and hates them to be, right in the center of everything. As long as LeBron is in this jersey and performing, every creative front office will keep asking, is there any way we get him? Those questions are going to follow us until he retires or clearly slows down. Our job, as people who actually watch this team, is to separate manufactured tension from real signals. That's why I keep coming back to the details. Watch how the Lakers behave at the margins. Do they make moves that fit LeBron and Davis? Do they protect flexibility without wasting seasons? Do they manage his workload intelligently instead of chasing cosmetic wins in November? Those decisions will tell you infinitely more about the future of this partnership than any hypothetical graphic with him in another uniform. A locked-in, competent front office tightens the relationship. A distracted, reactive one opens the door for opportunists. So when I sit here and evaluate LeBron James to the Mavericks for you, I see a pressure test, not a prediction. It's a scenario that forces this franchise to look in the mirror and ask if it is truly honoring the last elite years of one of the greatest players ever. As of today, based on cap structure, roster construction, symbolism, and competitive logic, the answer is that keeping him in Los Angeles and strengthening what's around him still makes far more sense than handing him away to feed someone else's super team fantasy. And now, I want your read. If one day a team like Dallas came in with a massive all-in package, would you even consider listening? Or is the only acceptable path to ride with LeBron in purple and gold until the game itself, not outside noise, tells us it's over? Tell me below how you would react if you woke up to a real detailed proposal on the table and whether there is any version of that scenario you would support. I'll close it clearly for you. Right now, all the LeBron to Mavs talk is less an indication that he is leaving and more proof that he is still unique. The fact that smart people keep drawing impossible paths to get him only underlines what the Lakers currently hold. The responsibility is on this front office to act like they understand that, to use these remaining elite seasons to chase, aggressively and intelligently, the highest possible ceiling by his side, not without him. Stay with Lakers News Fan Report, subscribe, turn on your notifications, and share this video with that friend who panics at every rumor, because here you're going to keep getting fast updates and deep, honest analysis about everything that touches our team. Dead Dis.